Hello, I'm Fred from IMMI, and I want to talk to you about those two Richard Cordray videos that they did with CNBC. You know, I think he's right about one thing. This data breach is truly a memorable event. But I think he's wrong about virtually every other thing that I heard him say. We could start with the fact that he claims the Federal Reserve needs to decide what happens with the Equifax Board of Directors. I'd have to ask him, what about the shareholders' rights? What about the people that were affected by this, by having to go through all of this identity theft prevention measures? I think they should have a voice. He also started to talk about how the credit reporting agencies should welcome the involvement in the government in terms of their preventive monitoring. I have to ask him, who does that? I mean, do businesses really want the government to become involved as if they did something wrong just because they're associated with a specific industry? The third thing he said that really doesn't make sense to me is he talked about how we need Equifax. We need a third credit reporting agency. And he never did say why. He never explained that perhaps we needed three places to put all of our sensitive financial and identity data so that hackers could get at it. It doesn't make any sense to me. And I know that some of my friends will be critical of me suggesting that I am critical of Mr. Cordray because he's likely to be the Democratic candidate for governor of this state. But, that I'd say bullshit. My harshest criticism should be directed toward the Trump administration. They've been talking a lot about Puerto Rican mayors and football players kneeling and Russian collusion, but they haven't really talked about this very much. And those two guys that were hired to run finance from Goldman Sachs, the one guy's talking about anti-Semitic remarks, and the other one seems to be worried about how to file the expense report for using a government plane to fly around with a social media princess. I mean, what have these guys been doing? If this is draining the swamp, I suggest that it's going to get pretty deep. The direction this has been going as far as government's involvement and the future of Equifax, I think most people are missing the point. I called a leading law firm here in Cleveland by the name of Elkin Helk, and they've been advertising on the radio to call in if you were affected by the breach, and I explained to them that I had run my credit report and found that everything still looked pretty good even after I had gone to the Equifax website and learned that I had been breached. And they said they couldn't help me. And I just don't understand that either, because since I've been working on this Equifax project for the last 30 days, my thought is how we are lucky to live in a country where the people's voice can be heard. 100 million people or so, in this case 140 million people, have a pretty big voice, particularly if they can apply some political pressure. And I think that the resolution of this situation with Equifax is still up in the air. And I'd like to see if I could get you to join me by offering your email address up, and we'll keep you informed with the hope that ultimately we can convey a message that says the damage that's been done to the people who've been managing their credit effectively for many years and now have to deal with issues pertaining to identity theft and credit fraud has sustained damages of consequence. And if I look at the Equifax situation and realize that even if the cost of this data breach to us, the consumer, is the basic minimum identity protection plan, which costs $10 per month, and if you were to stretch that over 5 years, the next 5 years, which is a logical time, I think, to keep it in place, you'd be talking about, at 140 million, call it $500 total benefit, $70 billion in damages associated with this data breach. And Richard Cordray is talking about Equifax surviving, but the thing is, the market cap at Equifax, every single share of stock sold for its current price of $112, is only worth about $14 billion, or 1/5 of the amount that I just described as what I believe should be due people related to this whole issue. And the fact that our existing politicians are talking about that today, or in some cases are talking against the idea, doesn't make any sense to me. I'd encourage you to join me. Offer up an email address, and you will not be used in any way other than what you consent to be used for. We'll open up a dialogue consisting of finding out more about this data breach and how it affected you, and giving you our current thoughts as to what the next steps are. And that may involve, the hiring of some additional resources beyond what I'm able to offer in terms of my, legal expertise, because I'm not a lawyer, and, really nothing within the scope of this website or these videos should be construed as financial advice of any sort. In any case, I would like to thank you once again for taking the time to hear me out. And, I guess at this point in time, I would just say that that's my story, and I'm probably sticking to it for the time being. If you could take a little bit more time and like, comment, and share, what I'd like to do is leave you with the thoughts of one of my current, really all-time favorite movie characters that sort of characterizes how I feel about this whole situation over there at Equifax. All right. Well, thank you very much.
I want you to get back. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to ride. I don't want you to write to your congressman, because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crying in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now, and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore. I want you to get up right now. Get up, go to your windows, open them, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore. Things have got to change.
How many stations is this going on?
Get mad. I know it goes to Louisville and Atlanta. I'm not going to take this anymore. Then we'll figure out what to do about the depression and the inflation and the oil prices. But first, get up out of your chairs, open the window, stick your head out and yell, and say, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
That's it.